Greetings, Grace Covenant, on this Friday, October 7th, 2022. Thank you for joining me today in this format, which is the final opportunity for me in this format to share with you some general thoughts and reflections about our work together and about who we are called to be as people of God. I've been packing a lot, and packing gives time for reflection. And one of the things as I have been packing in the last several weeks, there's been so much going on since the announcement of my resignation and move to Pennsylvania that it has been difficult for me to find time to get to the piano and the organ and get the amount of practice time that I'm routinely used to getting. And practice is incredibly important for a musician. It is for me. And I know that practicing is important for all types of disciplines, not just music, but art, in the crafts we do in our daily lives, in cooking. Practice is just so important. My grandmother told me that the best way to make biscuits was to practice. And so she made them every day, and that's why they were wonderful. And it got me thinking too about this term that we hear from some of our siblings in the faith who refer to themselves as practicing Catholics. I kind of like that. We don't necessarily use that term, but I think it opens us to remind ourselves that our faith is something that needs to be practiced, that needs daily attention. In the same way that I need to get to the keyboard to practice so that worship is led with efficiency and effectiveness, both here and when I move. And I can tell you there's a level of frustration right now because of that limited practice. There's also a level of anxiety a bit because I have in the back of my mind an amazing quote that I heard years ago from a Lutheran theologian and church musician named Paul Westermeyer. And he said, "Not to practice is to treat the people with contempt," which is something I would never want to do. And it is one of the reasons I practice. I related to the chancel choir this week that is why they practice, because what we bring to worship to build up the body, what we bring to worship to glorify God, should represent the best of what we are able to offer in the moment. Is it going to be perfect? Probably not. But is it going to be our best in the moment? We're going to hope so. And so practicing, whether it's faith or music or art or baking or science or math, whatever it is you do, practicing is important. I'm reminded of some other quotes. The great concert pianist Vladimir Horowitz said, "If I don't practice for a day, I can tell. If I don't practice for 2 days, my critics can tell. And if I don't practice for 3 days, my audience can tell." When the great cellist Pablo Casals was asked at 90 years old why he still practiced every day, he said, "Because I think I'm making progress." So Grace Covenant, there may be bumps in the road, there may be times when things interrupt that routine that we need, but at our heart, I hope that we all continue to practice our instruments, practice our art, practice our hospitality as people of faith, practice our faith. And certainly in these kinds of times of transition, when things are feeling unsettled, and let's face it, they're unsettled for me too. I'm going to a new place and I have hopes and dreams, but there's still a step of faith to do that. And I know that some of you are feeling unsettled because the rapport that we have and the ministry we have shared together for 8+ years has been something you can depend on and something that we have grown together as we've been in community. And now that the balance of community is changing, that can make you question things a bit. Lean into your faith, Grace Covenant. This is the time to practice your faith. So that is the message I will leave with you, Grace Covenant. Practice your faith, practice your art, practice, practice, practice. And know that all the gifts that we give are the best of ourselves. Know that I am so grateful for the time we have shared together. I look forward to seeing you this Sunday. And I just ask that you would pray for me as I continue on my journey. I will continue to pray for you, knowing that God has great things in store. And that together, no matter where we are still the church. We are connected as the body of Christ. And we are better for having had our paths cross. Thanks be to God, Grace Covenant, and Godspeed.